E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover Mentoring Our Youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jimgrant and donnaguinouard. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emersonbrantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And you'll see the webinar, the 6minutewebinar.com, the website there on the marquee. And let me say hello to Mr. Emerson Brantley.
Hello, Jim.
How you doing, sir? I was going to say 1H, but you're WB3, right?
That's right. Web3.
Web3direct.com.
All about Web3.
Oh, yeah. Emerson, we're so excited to have Vinney on with us again. He's on the show with us as he is a regular now every Wednesday about mentoring our youth. And what really excited me about Vinney was the fact that he was excited to be able to be a part of this Wednesday show.
That's right. And not just one, but multiple.
Oh, yeah.
And even as he has to travel, he wants to. So I think that's terrific.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it really is. It shows dedication and commitment, and that's what it takes in anything in life. And today we're going to be talking about effective communication. And Emerson, I know you got some experience in that, being a top-notch, writer and all, copywriter and all. I mean, goodness, you got to be able to communicate effectively, right?
Well, not only that, under the if you knew me well, what I actually majored in was communication when I went to college.
There you go.
And you learn all sorts of things about nonverbal communication, active listening,
right?
Things like how people do decision making, clarity, how conversations intersect, and confusion and passion for the person that you're talking with, and all of these different aspects that so often when we are talking with somebody or communicating on a phone or especially these days, Jim, with social media or online, people tend to forget that the person on the other end of that line is somebody that they got up that morning, they have specific things on their agenda, things that they're dealing with, health issues, personnel issues, relationship issues, and sometimes we're saying something, but what they're hearing is something totally different. And Vinney is going to be going into some of that today, which I think is brilliant. It's brilliant.
It really is. Let's welcome Vinney to the show. There he is. How you doing, sir? There he is.
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. I'm not in my backyard or in my office. Today I'm walking. I walk, by the way, everybody, who know me, I walk 3.5 miles, 7 days a week. Rain or shine, I like to do it 7 days so that you're consistent. If you're consistent, then life
That's the equivalent
changes.
of a marathon every week. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, close to it there. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful. No, I will be talking about the show right here. I have a great friend who visited me. He's known me for 7 years, or I've known him. Great personality, young
Mhm.
man, 30 or so. I'll just say that. And I'm 71. I behave like 17, but
There you go.
but the
Yeah.
effective communication is
Oh,
such
yeah.
a great subject for us to discuss today.
Mhm.
Because what we find is that if we are not a great communicator, we can accomplish little in life, but we can accomplish a lot more if we are able to give our ideas with good enthusiasm
Mhm.
in simple ways and to the people we want to communicate to. And we also design our life so that we know what we are saying. See, what happens is mouth, anything that comes out of our mouth, you
Mhm.
can't take it back.
Oh, isn't that true?
You cannot take it back at all.
Right.
So we need to be so particular what words come out of our mouth. And I'd
Amen.
love to say, if I may, that God gave us two eyes, 2 ears, and only one mouth. Why?
Mhm.
Why? Why? Because we can actually five, just only one out of the five total organs. We have other touch and feeling and all that stuff. But to
Mhm.
communicate, we need to keep that in mind to just shut up. Speak less
Mhm.
is the word which I would like to say to all the youth and all the adults and everybody, myself included. I'm at guilty too, because a lot of times we say, you know what? I want to make a difference. I am this, I'm that. I want to tell the whole truth. Other person, listener, may not be ready at all
Mhm.
Right.
to listen to it.
Mhm.
So we need to be so careful. Effective communication is the backbone of society. So
Mhm.
I would like to say, bring on Joshua Mendoza, my good friend. Joshua is coming in here. He's a
There he
stand.
is. Look.
How's it going,
There
Vinney?
you are.
How's it
Hi,
going, Jim,
Josh.
Emerson? Good morning.
Fine. How you doing?
Hey,
Welcome to the
Josh.
show.
Oh,
Thank you for
lovely.
having me.
Welcome to the show. Joshua was with me this weekend, actually. He drove 1 hour from San Francisco to be with me and walk with me. And I have known Josh for over 7 years, and just
Wow.
a great human being, a
Mhm.
great promoter of youth. And also, he was the CEO at a young age of maybe, let's say, 7 years back, 23 or 22. I'll let him speak. And he's very
Mhm.
big, humble beginnings. And he's, I will say that right now. Joshua bought a home for his parents and done so many wonderful things. He worked from the Bill
Mhm.
Gates and Melinda Foundation for education. So a lot of things will come out today's episode that really are very near and dear to me to talk about this gentleman, Joshua. Joshua,
Mhm.
welcome to our show, Mentoring the
Thank you,
Youth.
Vinny.
God bless you.
To
God
the
bless
show.
Yeah.
God bless you too, Vinny. I
Yeah.
think it's. I'll share a little bit more about my story, but I would not have gone as far as I had if it hadn't been for you, and you've inspired me so much over the past several years since I've met you too. So I give a lot of my success to you as well. So it's not a one person thing. It's never a one person thing. There's always teachers, mentors, parents, people that believe in you, and I'm excited to speak about effective communication because that's a big part of what got me here
Mhm.
today.
Oh yeah.
for
Absolutely.
sure. And I am grateful every morning, miracle morning I talk about. Today I was having several meetings before the show. I got up at 4:30 or 5. And the key thing is we got to be always giving the positive energy and
Mhm.
light and everything to everybody around us
Oh
so that
yeah.
they feel good about meeting you, seeing you again and again, and to be in your company. See,
Mhm.
that's the thing. This whole world is not a solo game. It's a team sport of life.
Mhm. Yeah. I remember growing up, my dad used to tell me he was a country boy, had very simple, sayings. He says, "I remember one thing, son. Some people bring happiness when they walk into a room, and others bring happiness when they leave the room. So make up your mind if which way you want to make people happy." And that's a good, he was just a down-to-earth, simple, uncomplicated country boy. He was a farmer. He was a lineman with a power company. But he didn't have any real schooling. He couldn't read or write. But the common sense he had was, he was just, I wish I was half as smart as my dad was. I didn't know he was that smart when I was a teenager. He started getting real smart when I reached my late 20s and early 30s. The old man, he's sharp as tack,
So
Yeah,
true.
when I was 17, my dad, I was really embarrassed because I felt like he was really not that sharp. I just I really felt that way. I was amazed at how much my dad had grown by the time I reached about 21.
Yeah.
Emerson, you're so right about it.
Yeah.
All the youth we are talking to, or they're watching us later on through the podcast and shows, the key thing is where you are, however age you are, right at 10, 12, 15, 20, 21. Please look into what we are just saying. You're right. Your dad and mom are right.
Yeah.
They have seen the life. They have seen the, different aspects of life which you have not yet. So we need to give them credibility and agree to some of the things that, we have our own world, definitely. But we should really listen to and see what they are trying to communicate. I really say thank you to my dad every morning because he was a disciplinarian. He held a school every night. I mentioned that in my previous self-discipline, our number one. Then we did, of course, the priorities in life. And then we did the goal setting last week. And then today we are talking about effective communication. He held a school every night after dinner. And that really got education in our blood.
Yeah.
And all our siblings, 6 of us, are successful, thank goodness. And, because of the education we got.
Yeah. I remind young people, that, if you're 15 years of age and you think your parents are, just way out of touch and all that, remember one thing. When they were your age at 15, they probably thought a lot like you.
Yeah.
So what happened between your age and their age, and it's summed up in one word, it's called wisdom.
Yes.
And that comes with time. There is go ahead.
Wisdom and maturity and having seen many things along the way and your tastes change along the way. One of the good measuring sticks for this is something that people probably don't often think about. There's all the oldie goldie music, all the big band era.
The good music he's talking about.
and early rock and roll, rockabilly, and the 70s. Listen, every single popular form of music was popular because it was teenagers who were dancing and enjoying it and listening to it at the time. That's what made it. And when you listen to it, of course, those teenagers have gotten older and older, all right? And so now that's my dad's music or that's my mom's music. Well, you know what? That's because that was their music when they were teenagers.
Oh, yeah. And remember one thing about your grandmother.
Shift and change and grow.
Yeah. Like I tell people, remember when you look at your grandmother, remember one thing. Back when she was young, she wore mini skirts and she drove Mustangs. And you can't get any cooler than that. It's true. It's true.
And one day you will.
I had a girl outrun me in a Mustang one time. Doggone, that was embarrassing when a woman shuts down your car, Had to bruise you.
If you see some 70 or 80-year-old woman with tattoos all over her arms and everything, just remember.
Yeah.
She was probably 20 when she got them,
Oh, yeah.
And we change physically, we change mentally, we change emotionally, we change with the experiences in our life.
Yeah.
And as part of our discussion today, somebody that you're talking to and communicating with has had a whole different range of experiences.
Yes.
And when they hear certain words, those words may not mean exactly the same thing to them that they mean to you. And that's an important concept, is that we're communicating based on what they hear. People say all the time, we've all heard this, right? I just say what I think what I say, or say what I mean what I say. You know what? I need to say it in a way that you hear it and embrace it, and then we can have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Not just whatever pops into my head.
So
Exactly.
true, so true, so true. Joshua, I would like to feature you. Tell us about your humble beginnings, if you would. It's a very inspiring story for all the youth across the world. I'm telling you, going to Stanford is no easy task. It's not. And especially not paying a dime for it, getting a scholarship. So tell us more about it, where you grew up and the whole story, and then your Destined X. What inspired you to mentor the youth? Because you're a live example. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a perfect segue to, and, talking about, our parents and, grandparents and everyone that came before us. So my parents actually, so I'm an only child, but my parents didn't have the opportunity to go to college, not even high school. So my father has an elementary school education. Mom has a middle school education. So for me, going to high school, I actually went to a specialized early college high school in Southern California that was actually in part, and this is an important detail, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And so what's important about an early college high school is that because of this extra funding that our school got, we actually were dual enrolled in high school and college on a community college campus. And we didn't have to pay books, tuition, anything. It was all expenses paid in high school. And so again, for me and my family, because my family came from a low income background, so it's not just, first generation college, it's also low income background. So a lot of stuff that was just even me going to high school was already such a huge benefit, but being able to also be a part of community college at an early age and not have to pay anything for those community college courses was huge. I did not take that, or I took it very seriously, what that meant for me and all of the people that were pouring so much energy and resources into us as students, believed in us, right? Because education is not cheap. I actually ended up being the valedictorian of my class. Like Vinney mentioned, I got a full ride scholarship to Stanford University, where I studied product design engineering, which is similar to mechanical engineering. And another important detail here, when I was in high school, was actually 2007 when the first iPhone came out. And I knew then I want to work at Apple one day when I'm done with school and I'm out in the working force. So after studying 4 years at Stanford with a full ride scholarship, which I remember I was crying, my parents were crying, because it was such a huge moment that they've worked so hard their whole lives to and for me to be their only child, it was a huge moment for us as a family. And so when I graduated from Stanford University, and this is where the important detail comes back into play, actually my first job was not Apple, it was Microsoft. And so we all know the CEO of Microsoft is Bill Gates and his wife, Melinda Gates, which, they were the funders of my high school. And one time, I think it was the first or second year of me working at Microsoft, Melinda Gates was actually giving a talk at Stanford University. And so when I was working as a mechanical engineer at Microsoft in the Mountain View office, which is about a 15-minute drive from Stanford's campus, I told my manager, I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to go to Stanford and I need to not just listen to her talk. I'm going to tell her in person, thank you. And so I went to that. I went to her talk. It was a beautiful talk on philanthropy and giving back and what they've been doing with their foundation. And she concluded her talk and she went backstage. And I, of course, no one was allowed backstage, but I had to find a way to get backstage. I had to get to the point of effective communication. I had to get my point across. I was not leaving that auditorium until I had Melinda Gates in front of me to tell her thank you in person. So I ended up going backstage, and of course the security guard is like, sorry, we can't let anyone in. and actually saw one of my friends who was a student at the time. And I had told her I'm going to be at this event. If there's any way that I can speak to her, I would really appreciate it. So she saw me and she told the security guard, you need to let him in. He needs to tell his story. So I went up to Melinda Gates after that, and I mean, I had tears in my eyes. I was crying because, again, she really, with her foundation, changed my life. If it wasn't for that high school, that scholarship, everything, I would not have been where I was today. And so, I had a handwritten note and everything, really expressing all my gratitude, on behalf of myself, my family, and the fact that, and I think it made her even happier to know that I was at the time working at Microsoft, which her husband founded. So it was just this really like full circle kind of experience. And, to Vinney's point about, gratitude and just how beautiful life is and, positivity and everything, I really do think that everything does happen for a reason. Yeah. Long story short, I spent about 2 years at Microsoft, eventually worked at another company before I jumped to that. For me, I've always been very aware of how really blessed I've been. Even though my family didn't have education, we didn't have that much money, I was so blessed by my mom always, to the point of effective communication. She never told me, you can't do it. We can't find a way. She was always told me, whatever you want to do, I'm here to support you. If you need me to drive you to the library, I'll drive you to the library. And so, having that support from an early age, and my father is the complete opposite. He worries a lot. And he's I'm worried about this. I'm worried about the money. I'm worried about this. And so you combine the two, and you think about. I mean, for me, I now think I can do anything, but I also need to think about what could go wrong, and how do I make sure that it doesn't go wrong.
Because we're born into a world of survival, and it's natural for us to worry about things.
Yes.
And Bill Heinrich, a good friend of Emerson's mine. He's very big on, there's only two major emotions. There's love and there's fear. And love comes with an abundance. Yes. And fear is everything in the physical that's negative, that consumes us. It's like he said, we're born into a world of survival. We're, fear of loss, fear of this and all that. So, for your
scarcity,
it's perfectly normal to go through that. So for young folks out there that may be going through fear, and they're thinking, wow, if I ask this, will I be asked to go to the prom? Or if I ask this girl to go to the prom, I don't think I want to embarrass myself because I'm not sure she's going to say yes. Right. That's all fear. And how you conquer fear is love yourself and love others.
And trust yourself,
Yeah, and expect no. And for example, I'm gonna prove it right now on TV. Emerson, can I borrow $20?
Absolutely.
Well, you never know when you're gonna snap a cold streak. So when it's kind of like
it's 21, Jim. It's 21.
Yeah. What was that W. Clement Stone always said about asking a question? Do you remember that, Emerson? What he said was, when in doubt, go ahead and ask the question. You got nothing to lose. There might be a yes.
You have nothing to lose and everything in the game by trying.
You only get a yes if you ask enough questions. So true. So true.
And see how that fear worked with me. I was going to ask Emerson if he loaned me $20. I was expecting him to say no, but he said yes. So I'm $20 ahead. But, Joshua, getting back to
your plane ticket, and I'll bring it personally, Jim.
There you go. The limo from the airport to the house, huh? Hand delivered. Oh, I need a tissue for my eyes here, Joshua, let's talking about your mom and your dad. Your mom somehow, they always have more of a rosy. They're the glue in the family, I think, because when you may have heard of this, and several people have read about it in Napoleon Hill's works when he was writing, getting all the information to put together the book Think and Grow Rich. He interviewed 500 of the richest people of this country had ever seen at that time. The one common denominator that the 500 had, the most common denominator they had was they had a good mother. Because mothers teach you how to, it's okay when you fall down and skin your knee. You know, and growing up with our dads being baby boomers, you know, if you did something stupid, our dad's attitude was, he'll learn. You know, they were not, you know, if you, I tell the story about, you know, the mother saying, George, Tommy's over there. He's got a screwdriver and I'm afraid he's going to stick it in a wall receptacle. Let him, he'll learn. That was the way dads were when we grew up. And, you know, mothers have that ability to keep the family on track. They have that great, I don't know what you call it, a good anchor for the family. They really do.
And you know, Jim,
go ahead.
For those, because, you know, I can tell the same story about my mom. I mean, she took me downtown, as viewers have heard before, to see travel logs. This is before they had, you know, travel channels like on the internet or on streaming, so that I would have a world view of other cultures and other countries. But I have to add this into it because we have viewers, Jim, who maybe they didn't have that mother
Right.
who was like that, or maybe they didn't have that father who was like that, or maybe they had, you know, very negative experiences, you know, or disinterested there. Who knows? But the thing is, one of the key elements here, and I think this was so rich what Joshua was sharing about Melinda Gates, is to recognize there are other people out there, and there are people that you can seek out, and don't be afraid to ask. That really is the key. What Jim just did. Don't be afraid to ask for that insight, for that wisdom, for that guidance from other people. It's an amazing thing, and I've shared this before too. And I'll cut this off so we can get back to Joshua's story. But a partner of mine, when he was a teenager, started a habit. And he would pick up the phone and call people. He'd read about them in the paper, see them on TV. He'd call them like Sam Walton, for example, was one of the people. He just called out of the blue. And he would ask them to share with him what they had learned and what guidance that they had, that they would share with somebody who was 16, 17, 18 years old when he started this. And you know, by the time he was 30, he had called over 200 different people that didn't know him and had talked with them and had basically interviewed them and recorded many of them. But he learned from that experience. He sought out those people. And
that's amazing, Emerson. Thank you so much for sharing that. You know, it's in this world now we are finding small video clips are the way to get responses back so easy and so nicely. And even in our business world, we are not sending emails that much. We are not sending text that much. We are sending little video clips.
Yes.
So I would challenge our viewers, our youth, to do a small iPhone recording and send it to their parents. Mom and Dad, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and also to your teacher and to your fellow students and peers, because that will bring so much joy back to you. See, when you ask people to help you and thank them, they will thank you more. They'll give you more in return. I just want to take a moment to say Joshua's one quality, which I've known for 7 years, is he likes to write out a small card before even he meets with the person. And he writes it in thanking them for what they did it. He has not even met them yet. Wait a minute.
That's brilliant.
He prepares, and he did that last week again. He's done many of those over 7 years. And that's his personality. And it's such a small thing, but it's a huge thing in the person who gets it. So I would highly recommend everybody, all the youth, to practice that. Just take a plain sheet of paper and write down thank you, small sentences couple of small words and just fold that paper and give it to your teacher and give it to your friend and give it to your mom and dad and relative or anybody who has made a difference in your life, because they will give you more. They will outpour their heart and love for you.
And
I
there's
love it,
something
Vinney. And
powerful, powerful about that physical note, Joshua, isn't there? Not just
it's so
writing it.
rare. So few
Yeah.
people do it nowadays. And it like Vinney mentioned, it means so much. Even for me, like I run a nonprofit to help underprivileged students. And whenever I receive a handwritten note or a text message, even years after, I've known these students, it means so much to me, because every single human being on the planet, I don't care what country you live in, what city you live in, everyone wants to feel valued. They want to feel like what they do matter. And when you receive that thank you text, Vinney, I'm going to start doing that from now on. I love what you mentioned about the little short video clip.
Yes.
I was actually thinking right after, we met last weekend, I was thinking, my God, Vinney is so inspirational. And I wanted to thank a lot of other people in my life too. So I'm going to start doing those video things. I love it. That's one thing I love about Vinney. I learned so much and I'm so inspired by him. But yeah, it's such a small little thing, but it means so much to the person receiving it. And that's an important part of effective communication. Effective communication is making people feel like they're $1 million.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's a
true.
personal touch.
It
So
really
true.
is.
It really is. Josh, take us through this Destined for X. Remember the organization and what was purpose behind it, and how you became a CEO at a young age of a nonprofit. I mean, that's very inspirational. I know a lot of youth watching us or listening to us might be very, very compelled to really do that, because it's the inspiration of spreading joy and light to others. The light and the energy, the more we can spread around us, it's going to come many, many, many fold back to us. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, 100%. So I left off in my story that I was working at Microsoft and I got to meet Melinda Gates. And right around that time, actually, again, because I was always very conscious of the fact of, it was never a one-man show. Yes, I worked very hard. I studied a lot. But if it wasn't for my teachers, mentors, parents, friends, like a lot of people in my life, I would not have been in that moment standing in front of Melinda Gates. And so right around that time, I started I wanted to formalize the way that I gave back, because prior to that, I would, go back to my high school, do guest, presentations, teach them, that it's possible to go to a college like Stanford. It's possible to, get your dream job. It's all possible. You just need to work very hard and know, what resources to use, or if you don't have the resources, make them. One thing that I did in college was because it was a fairly new high school, we didn't have any clubs, but I wanted to learn robotics and I wanted to learn physics and I wanted to learn math and science and I wanted to learn debate. So I started all those clubs because it wasn't just that I wanted to learn. I wanted other people to get excited about that too. But going, and so, it's all this, making opportunities for myself and other people.
Yeah.
So when I was at Microsoft during, I think it was 2017, I decided, let me start an actual organization and build a team around this so that we can actually give back in a formal way. And so I called it Destined for X. And the reason for that name is I didn't want it to be, future engineers or future scientists of America or anything like that. It really was, we can support students in whatever it is that they want to do. Whatever it is that you feel destined for. I'm destined to work at Apple. I'm destined to go to college. I'm destined to become a real estate syndicator like Vinney. Whatever it is that you feel destined for, that's what that X is. It's that variable like in math. Like whatever that is for you, and it's different for every single person. Just go do it. And we'll give you the toolkit, the mindset, the thank you letters, everything, the how to create a good LinkedIn profile, how to reach out to people that are successful doing what you're doing. We'll give you that toolkit, but you have to do the work, right? It's you have to do the work. And so that first year we brought in 10 students from throughout California, and we paid for their flights, hotel, everything. We brought them to Silicon Valley. We took them on tours of Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla, all of the big tech companies, and a lot. And it sounds very, for me, surreal to say this, but a lot of my friends worked at those companies, And, if I was in high school to meet someone that I can just call up my friend Alejandro who works at Lyft and I want to work at Lyft one day, that's huge. That's a huge networking opportunity for a child in high school who doesn't have any mentors or anyone that's even remotely in the field that they're interested in. So, it was a huge networking opportunity for these students. And, like I said, we gave them this toolkit and we showed them it's possible, because a lot of these people that worked at these companies in technical or non-technical positions also came from these low income or, first generation college student backgrounds. And so they saw there are all these people in front of me that literally had the same background that I did, and they did it. So why can't I do it too? And it was this light bulb moment for a lot of them. And many of them, again, they were crying because it was just a huge realization. And to also have these people tell them, you can do it. I believe in you because I did it.
That's one of the things
so empowering.
That's one of the things that young people need to understand, that, I'm sure down your pathway of life as you went forward, you ran into some no's, some disappointments and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And when you run into a no, that just means that was not the right door for you to go through. It's that simple. But sometimes in life, and too many times in life, whenever a person of old age, whether they're young or old or in between, sometimes they just have their mindset, if they get a no, they just stop, period. Stop dead in their tracks. And they feel defeated. A no just simply means that you're not talking to the right person,
Yeah.
That's
And
basically
you don't have to
it.
waste your time there anymore.
That's right, yeah.
And you know what? Never take no personally. If I
Oh,
may
no,
say that, it's not you. It's not your personality. It's not who you are. They're just saying no to what you're asking. Look at what you're asking. At that time, they are not in the frame of mind or position or anything or attitude or whatever. Whenever you ask that no, it came temporarily. It is possible. Like in sales, we always say that love to learn to love knows. Learn
Oh,
to
yeah.
love knows. As much
Go for
as
the
yeses. As much as yeses. And let's make it a goal of ours to expect no. But then be amply rewarded by if somebody says yes. And guess what? In life, it's a ratio. It's a ratio. You will get a lot of no's in life, imagine that, and few yeses. The beauty is to really uncover, and I call it as a picket fence. For example, if you hit one picket no, second picket no, no, maybe the 10th one will say yes. Maybe in the youth it's not like that, but in reality, in adult life, in sales and marketing and blah blah blah, everything is like that. Ratios. You only close yes 1 out of 10, or 1 out of 5, or 1 out of 100. Some professions that our youth will be going into, they might make one big sale but make $1 million.
Many
And that's
sales
for the
teams,
whole year.
many sales teams, their star salesperson is closing 20%, 30%,
Yes, sir.
whatever, which means
Totally.
7 or 8 or more of the people that they talked to said no. And you could go through 20, 30, 40, 50 of those before you hit that first yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the next 2, 3, 4, 5 could all be yeses. We don't know.
It's so true, Emerson. I actually have done some recordings, and this is just a small thing, to look at how many no's in business profession I teach, how many no's you got in a year, and how many yeses.
Oh, wow.
Total them all together, and how much you were able to earn the whole year with the whole package and everything, insurance and all, blah, blah, blah. So then divide the total earnings by the total yeses and nos. Now you come up with the value of everything the same. No has a value and yes have a value, but both are equal. Wait a minute. Now you are so excited to get the no because they're worth the same as the yeses.
It's
So
amazing.
psychologically, you could really psych yourself up and say, you know what? I'm so glad I got a no because the yes is around the corner.
Yeah. I
It
like that.
shows
That's a good
the
way of
value of
looking at it. That's a
trying.
good analogy. It really is.
Thank
It's great.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a
You
great
know,
formula.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. But Joshua, tell us, what have you seen in the people you worked with? I was so impressed, the awards you gave and how the students came and their videos and their parents were so overwhelmed
yeah.
with the generosity of your organization. Oh my gosh.
You know what? The one story that stands out to me to this day, that first year we had a student, his name was Freddie. And I knew when we interviewed him that he was just brilliant. And I mean, he had really good grades in school and everything. And he showed up to our program, and it's a week-long summer program, at least, before COVID. Right now we're doing a scholarship program, which I can touch on in a second. But in that in-person program, the first 3 days, we were lucky if we heard him say a single word. Wow. He was so quiet, so in his little shell, and so scared to communicate with other people. Until the day that we went to Google and did a trip of Google, which was his dream company, and he spoke to an engineer there who is a computer scientist, a software engineer, and you could not imagine how he blossomed after that. He was the most effective communicator. He had so much confidence in everything that he was saying. He was telling everyone at our summer program, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back home and I'm going to start a science club at my high school, and I'm going to build it into the biggest club at my high school and everything. And unbelievably, he did it. He went back home. Even his mom was like, "What did you do to my son? I don't recognize him anymore." His teachers, were like, "Oh my God, this Freddie's a completely different person." And he did. He made that club, and it was the biggest club at his high school. It was the most successful club at his high school. And it just emphasizes how much even having just one person believe in you can make such a big difference in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Vinney,
Joshua, we have talked about it here in our show in the previous episodes. Just making a difference in one person's life, your life is worthwhile. Your life is so blessed by just taking care of or helping somebody, one and more. A lot of time we say, you know what, I don't have time, I don't have money, I am not in the right situation, blah, 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 blah. But the youth can help their peers so much on a daily basis. All they have to do is effectively show their love and show their gratitude and show their, leadership is the word. Everybody, if anybody watching us, if, don't be a follower, be a leader. And leader, guess what? If you lead one person, you are a leader. You don't have to have thousands of people around you to lead. It's between two. One leads, one follows. Or both leaders. Then you are able to get two more and two more and two more. And Joshua, that's what you have done, brother.
Thank
you,
I don't
Vinney.
know the exact saying, Vinney, but it might be Chinese or Japanese. But if you save one life, you save a nation or something like that. So if you help one person, I don't know the exact saying, but the importance. What can I do? I can, one person. What difference does it make? One person and the impact they make, and the impact that their people make, and their children and their families, and their on and on and on and on, and it becomes a cascading effect that we may never know. We may never know the extent of that impact that you're able to make, Joshua, when you're working with one person. And my wife was a college professor for years, and she would often talk about finding that one in the class with the spark, the one with that spark, because that's the one that's hungry and wants what you have. They want to, not what you have, but they want to they want to grow.
For sure. For
They
sure.
want to grow.
It's so true. Growth is
Yeah.
the medicine. I think, let's just say that. Growth is the pill. I always say that. If you're not growing, if you're not getting a little bit more positive each day, if you're not helping others each day more and more and more, because a lot of times we just stand outside the field. I say that. In the game of life, we got to hit the ball. We cannot be just outside and
Yeah.
then be a spectator. Some of us are. It's okay. Certain times I am too. But let's just make ourselves available to change other people's lives.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
You don't have any. We don't have a lot of control over
No.
the hand of cards that
No.
we draw. But
We
we
don't.
do have complete control over
Yes.
how we play the cards.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
And you talking about the game of life there, and it reminds me of what I tell folks. You take someone that's a major league baseball player, say it's a fielder or outfielder, it makes no difference, but he gets up to the plate. He has a batting average of 300 over his career. He averaged stealing 15 bases, and, hit, 20 homers, every year, That's a Hall of Fame career with honors.
Yes.
No question about that. But see, what does a batting average of 300 means? That means 7 times out of 10, when he got up to the plate, he couldn't even get to first base.
Yes.
And
yes.
so therefore, the nugget of truth in that is that when the fans see this player step up to the plate, and when this player is stepping up to the plate, he's not thinking about, I've got less than a third of a chance of getting on base or getting a hit. They're thinking, this guy, he can smack it out of the park, including Yellowstone. Let's root him on, And when he gets a big hit or hits a home run, everybody's joy and jubilee. When he doesn't, okay. They
Jim,
forgive
everybody
him.
knows the name of Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
And they always called him the home run king, but he was also known as the strikeout king.
He was.
Because he stepped up there and put 100% into every single swing.
Oh, yeah. But, not only do the fans forgive him when he strikes out or flies out, but also he forgives himself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the point that I wanted to make with that.
Yeah.
And that's so critical. He might say, heck, or slam the bat down if he's called out on strikes or something. But he gets over it. He forgives himself.
That is so great what you just said, Jim. In life,
Powerful.
it's very powerful to forgive ourselves. A lot of us stay locked in with the defeat and the failures in life. That's what our subconscious does.
Yeah.
It doesn't the good or the bad or the ugly, but it
Oh, yeah.
records everything. It records the bad and the good, and a lot of things that happened to us in the past.
Yeah.
They're ashes. We talk about that. They're ashes, so don't smother your face with the ashes, but let them be where they are. Learn from those mistakes and failures, but make up a mind that you're not going to do them again, or try not to do them again. Maybe do it again one more
Yeah.
time. So what? We have so many chances in life.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
be depressed. And we've got to really have the best self-talk ever for us, of positivity, of confidence, that we are a great human being. I hope everybody listening to us is so important for youth and adults and everybody, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
perform better if we self-love is there. If
Oh,
we
yeah.
see that we are the ones who can make a difference in our lives, our family life, and everybody.
Yeah, you're
Joshua,
gratitude.
tell me on more on this one, please.
Yeah.
Joshua,
Having
You-
gratitude.
so you- if you guys-
that's one thing that Joshua talked about, and
Yes.
loving
Go ahead.
yourself, that's
Yeah.
another aspect. Go ahead, Joshua.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joshua.
Oh, I was just going to say, so you see these little sticky notes right here?
Oh, yeah.
These are all of my positive affirmations. So every day I wake up, or before I go to sleep outside of my office, that is the first thing that I see when I I'm leaving to go get ready in the morning or coming back from work, and I reassess how do I want to show up today at work? How do I want to show up for the executives that I have to present to today? How do I show up to my friends? How do I show up? And that it reinforces, Vinney, I love what you just said, because many years ago, despite achieving all these different things in my life, I still had so much self-doubt and almost a certain self-hatred of thinking I'm not good enough, or this, or I failed because I got this bad grade on this test, or I didn't get this job, or I didn't get that scholarship. And that was fuel for me to keep going, but it wasn't necessarily a positive fuel. It was a very negative one. And now I feel like I completely twisted that around, where I wake up every day and I think I'm a winner. I am great. I deserve, I deserve love. I deserve success. I deserve all these things, and I'm going to work hard for it. Not because I'm lacking anything, but because that's who I want to be. And that's how I want to show up every single day.
Absolutely.
We need to get Joshua on another show just to talk about that.
Exactly.
No, I'm so privileged, so proud that Josh, reminded, and he came to me, and we had 3 hours together this past weekend, and I'm so in debt to him. He brought so much joy to my life, and inspiration, and traveled all the way 1 hour, more than that, So, such a beautiful feeling to be amongst the youth. I'm 71, but I behave like 17, and most of my friend circle is half my age. They're in the 30s and 35s and 40s. And that's the real key, is to really be as alive. If I can say that. Don't be dead when you get up. What do I mean by that? A lot of us push the snooze button several times to get up. That's not life. That's not life. We should be up before even the alarm comes on, and be ready to take on the world that day. We should go and brush our teeth, and I always say that, slap yourself 2-3 times and say, it's good to be alive.
Amen.
I'm going to have the best day ever today. I'm going to make it better than yesterday. But how many people get up in the morning and they feel so bad about their lives and the things and the stresses and the strains, and they don't want to get up. They do get up, but they're dead. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but that's what it is. When we are not mentally fit, we are not excited about joy of that life bringing to others and us, then we are not doing the right thing. So let's be alive. Let's be alive every single day of our life, because today's a birthday. See, when we get up in the morning, it's a new life. After we sleep 8 hours and we get our body to take care of itself and everything, that's why God made the night to be restful and be ready with joy and vigor and excitement for next day, because it's our new day, new birthday.
Yeah, Vinney, a long time ago, somebody said, instead of getting up and saying, good God, it's morning, get up and say, good morning, God.
That is so true.
Mindset that it's going to be a great day.
Yes.
It's full of opportunities and things you're having. Joshua, I want to get it back to you for the last 2 or 3 minutes here, because I know you probably have dozens of stories like you just shared with us.
Yes.
That you are dozens of instances that are important. And Jim, I think we ought to get Joshua on another show. Maybe even Vinney, you got to be out of the country here. Maybe we need to get Joshua back on the show. Just you.
That'd be very kind of Josh.
I want to talk about
that'd be awesome. Anytime.
Yeah, I want to talk about those sticky notes that you got.
Josh. And today's effective communication. We did self-discipline. We did goal setting. We did great shows. This is the 4th show, I think. So next week, what's the show next week, Jim? And
the show next week, let me take a look here right quickly on our, as soon as I find where I put it here in the folder here. I've got it here.
I think we need to do a show on your sticky notes, Joshua. and
Yeah,
share
yeah.
that as a personal
Yes,
example,
yes.
and some other stories of some of the young people who, through the foundation that you've created,
Oh, yeah.
you know, some of the changes that you've seen in them, some of the places that they've gone to, some of the advances that you've seen them make, and breakthroughs that you've seen them have. And I think that'd be a powerful show, Jim.
That'd be powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And, maybe
It really would be.
bring Freddie on one
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah.
your other very good friends, you have made a big difference in their lives, because there is nothing than the proof, the validity of this, because we all accept what we see and believe, but what people have accomplished when they listen from them. That's why the books are written and the video shows are done, so that the real thing comes out. Joshua, are you available next Wednesday, brother? I'm just asking you. But if you are, we would love
I should be, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear
Okay.
music in the background.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
We
That's
are.
our
next week. I'll
yeah.
the aeroplane.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Emerson and Vinney and Joshua and myself, we want to personally thank you for tuning in today, and we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. Be sure to remember to love yourself first, then you can love others, and most importantly, forgive yourself so you can forgive others. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.